Hello and welcome to the Excel Cave. Today we're going to talk about recording a macro to open text files in Excel. For example, let's just say we have a daily report of employees at our company and we're constantly hiring and experiencing some turnover as well, so the list gets updated daily. And we just want to create a macro that will record, that we can record and then open that text file so we don't have to go through the process of opening the file manually. So the first thing you need to do is make sure you save your workbook as a macro-enabled workbook. You can just do this by going to File, Save As, and then changing the type to that second option there, Excel macro-enabled workbook. Hit Save. Now, you should see a developer ribbon up here. If you do not, you can go to File, Options, Customize Ribbon, and just check the box for developer and click OK. So now we have that saved as a macro-enabled workbook. We just need to record the macro. Oh, let me step back here. Before we get to that, within our folder of text reports, we want to create a new folder. Just call it text drop. And move your file there. And at this point, since we're just recording the macro, you want it to be a file name that the macro will recognize every single day. If you have files with dates attached to them, that changes daily. So you might just want to shorten it to something that you can use every single day since you're recording the macro. So we'll just call it employees. So now we're going to record a macro. Let's just say open employees. And one thing to keep in mind here, you cannot have spaces in this macro name. You could, if you want to separate two words, you can put an underscore character there, but you cannot have spaces. So we're going to record this, click OK. The next thing we're going to do is hit Control and the letter O. Control O to open. We want to go to that text drop folder or navigate to it if you need to. By default, you're not going to see the text files because we're in Excel, so you have to come down here and change it to all file types. And then there's your employee file. Now this is comma delimited, so select the appropriate option. This is going to be delimited. Hit next and check the box for comma. Finish. There it is. We're still recording, so we could do a little editing here. Could just space this out. Maybe we want to bold the headings and put borders around them. And then make sure you come down here and hit stop recording. We'll just click don't save. We can test this macro now to make sure it works. So we can run it again. Open employee, just click run. Sure enough, there it is. Now, again, things to keep in mind, if you have a daily report and you drop it in here, make sure you change it to employees because that's what the macro looks for. It looks for that exact text document name. So this is really just a temporary folder where you drop in daily, delete it the next day, and drop in the new file and rename it. If you're like, well, hey, I really don't want to do that, you can go into the macro. Let's get out of this. Click on your macro button, click edit. You can see after it says workbooks open file name, it lists the path. There's your file name, employees.txt. If you really just want to drop the file in as is, you can put a star in front of the file name and a star after, and that will open anything that contains the word employees. Make sure you hit save up here, click OK, get a privacy warning. We'll get out of there. So let's just test this again. Delete that out of there. We just move in this file here. So now we've got a file with a date stamp on there. So now we can just run this again and see if it takes. And sure enough, it takes it with the date stamp on there because we put a wildcard search so that we specified that the file name just contains the word employees. The last thing I wanted to show you is just you can insert a macro button so you don't have to click run. If you can see that again, you should go to insert and select the button type. And as soon as you drag a shape there, it'll ask what do you want to, which macro do you want to assign. You'll just select the one you just created, click OK. You can rename it by right-clicking and edit text. Now, save, and when we run this, all you have to do is click a button, and that is how it's done. So that's just recording a macro to open a text file in Microsoft Excel. Thanks for watching, guys.